ABC Sports presents high school basketball. Tonight's game is brought to you exclusively by WB Green Insurance.
Promises. You've heard them all. Peace of mind, quality insurance products, superior claim service, all at a fair and competitive price. Since 1848, Westfield Insurance has promised to provide excellent insurance coverage for your home, auto, and business. Sharing knowledge, building trust. That is Westfield Insurance's pledge to their customers. For a quote on protecting your home, auto, and business, call WB Green Insurance today. WB Green, professional insurance.
Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday night basketball. Yes, that's correct. Wednesday night, it's on the girls' side of things here on YouTube, YourRadioPlace.com, Facebook, and YRP-TV. Tonight from John Glenn High School, the Lady Muskies will take on the Meadowbrook Lady Colts. So glad to be a part of your evening, and thank you so much to the game's one and only and dedicated sponsor at that, WB Green Insurance. They will have sole sponsorship of this contest, and we expect this to be a very good one. The Lady Muskies 11-4 on the season, coached by Gary Sigmund. They are 5-2 at home. Offensively for John Glenn, they average 51 points a game, and defensively they make their mark. They surrender just 34 points a game. They are an up and down team, up and down the floor, that is. They like to run, they like to really rebound the basketball, play pressure defense, and when they've got things going, the Lady Muskies are a tough out, so to speak. So looking for good things tonight in Coach Sigmund for the Lady Muskies. They are at home, as we said, 5-2. A couple of tough losses along the way, but a bounce-back team, a veteran team, although they do have some younger players in the lineup, including a 1,000-point scorer. That's Maya Oliver, and interesting to note in this basketball game, Maya Oliver has scored over 1,000 points, but so has Meadowbrook's Kenley Norman. So it's not often you get to see a couple of players who both scored over 1,000 points, but plenty to go around for both squads on the talent side of things. By the way, a key loss for Meadowbrook during an earlier part of the season. They lost Carly Launder due to injury, and her loss, according to a couple of people we talked to, has been significant. So we do wish her the best, but Meadowbrook, they will go on under Coach Chris Miles. They are 7-7 on the season, 3-4 away. They average 41 points a game offensively. Defensively, they surrender 43 points a game. So it's going to be a contest of what I think might be, can Meadowbrook handle the pressure of John Glenn? Can Meadowbrook handle the inside play of John Glenn? Can Meadowbrook shut down Maya Oliver? And on the other side of things, can John Glenn shut down Kenley Norman? Can John Glenn get things in the tempo they would like to see? We'll find out. We're just probably less than 5 minutes away from the start of the basketball game. Again, brought to you by WB Green Insurance. We're going to have the national anthem tonight, kind of a rare treat. Brett Klein, our super director, is going to make those arrangements. So we will be showing the national anthem. We'll have the starting lineups and some other information here shortly. We also want to remind you that we will have a couple of awards after the game. The +1 pizza player of the game will go to a Meadowbrook player, whereas the Lock 9 pizza player of the game will go to a John Glenn young lady. Again, tonight's game brought to you by WB Green Insurance. The live score updates from Clark Family Practice, and all free throws are courtesy of Amy Kissinger for Guernsey County Commissioner. We are going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have things going with the anthem, so stay with us.
How can you select from insurance companies offering you lizards or ducks? When it comes to protection for your home and auto, you want a company that provides quality insurance products and personalized, fair, friendly claims service. WB Green Insurance represents Westfield Insurance. Their reputation is based on sharing knowledge and building trust. Westfield has been around the neighborhood over 150 years. WB Green Insurance welcomes the opportunity to quote your home, car, and business insurance. Don't Don't be fooled by lizards and ducks. Call 439-1329.
You're watching high school basketball on ABC Sports and YRP TV. For a look at all things high school basketball, visit yourradioplace.com.
Remember to respect the game. The officials assigned to this game have been selected according to procedures adopted by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Muskegon Valley League. Tonight's officials are Scott Anders, Zach Beaton, and Mike Walters. At this time, please rise and join in the singing of our national anthem by freshman Chloe Huball.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
And now for tonight's starting lineup.
And we are back. Howard Twiggs above the arena here at John Glenn, joined tonight by our not only director, producer, but our lead analyst, Brett Klein. So, Brett, I think it's going to be a pretty good basketball game, especially if the Colts can hang early.
Yeah, we had the ability to cover John Glenn when they had their playoff run last season, which they did great for. And one common theme I noticed between a lot of the games that they played, they were tough because the opponent's defense, they did a couple things. They mirrored what John Glenn did defensively, and that was apply pressure on the ball at all times. And then they also did everything they could to shut down their lead scorers. So, like you mentioned earlier, the keys, shutting down Maya Oliver and handling the press. If they do that, Meadowbrook has a good chance to win this game. And then it's also the flip side for Meadowbrook as well. A good thing for them, you know, if they can have a good hard press and then, you know, contain your scores, each team has a good chance to win tonight's game.
Starting lineups first for Meadowbrook, it'll be Kenley Norman, 5'7" senior, Taylor Sichna, 5'10" senior, Lakin Lasco, 6'1" junior, Maribel Thornberry, a 5'8" junior, and Emma Webster, a 5'11" junior. For the Lady Muskies, it will be Maya Oliver, 5'8" junior, Emma Dolan, a 5'10" senior, Riley Zemensky, 6 foot junior, Aaliyah Musselman, 5'8" senior, and Madeline Winland, a 5'11" senior. Lady Muskies will be in their home whites with numerals of maroon and stripes of black. Meadowbrook in the traveling black with orange numerals and white numbers. Tip on the way, and it is controlled by John Glenn's Maya Oliver. Meadowbrook looks to be in a 1-2-2 zone defense. Oliver looks on top, dribbles, holds, fakes the pass, now swings to the right side, back to Oliver. So John Glenn brings it back out under Coach Sigmund, and he says, okay, let's see what we've got looking here on the zone defense. Out on top with the ball now is Leo Musselman. Back to Oliver to the corner, then long ball on the way is a perfect three for Riley Zemensky, and John Glenn will press right away. Zemensky with the steal, back pass over to Oliver for the layup, and quickly it is 5-0 in favor of John Glenn. 7:10 to go here in the first quarter.
That's the second play of the game, and you noticed a little flare on that.
Yeah.
You got the steal, jumped in front of the person trying to catch the ball, got it to Maya with a behind-the-back pass.
Looking good there. John Glenn looks like a box and one on Kenley Norman, so pay attention to there. Shot from the free throw line, no good by Webster. Rebound knocked around, and it will stay in the hands of the Meadowbrook Lady Colts. 6:45 to go first quarter. 5-0 in favor of John Glenn. Inbounds pass goes, blocked, nope, they're going to say shooting foul on the inside, so Meadowbrook will have a chance to go to the free throw line to get the 2 free throws. Personal foul goes against Madeline Widland for John Glenn, and a couple of tries coming for Meadowbrook. First one is up and good by Lakin Lasco. So the Lady Colts on the board, trailing 5-1, 6:44 to go. Second one bounces in and out, no good. She gets her own rebound. And then the kick back for the three is a perfect one for Kenley Norman. So Norman takes advantage of a crease in the defense by John Glenn and knots it pretty close at 5-4.
Pretty interesting span for both these teams. John Glenn gets out, they were patient, which they're being right now, and they had a quick 5-point span. Meadowbrook on the other end gets the ball down on their side of the floor for the first time, and they get a 4-point span.
Long ball on the way for the Lady Muskies. That's Zemensky, rebounded off to Emma Webster, and she is fouled on the floor. That will be team foul number 2 on John Glenn. Aaliyah Musselman's first. And John Glenn will stay with the pressure defense.
So Zemensky looks like her hand's hurting a little bit following that shot. We'll see how she holds up. Now, part of her hand is taped. We'll see if that becomes an issue further in the game.
John Glenn comes up with a steal, but the whistle blows. It was Zemensky on the steal. She was driving to the basket. There was contact made, and then a foul called on Meadowbrook. And that personal will go on Kenley Norman. So John Glenn will inbound underneath their own basket, and they will go on top. And then back to the corner with Zemensky. Back on top to Oliver. Oliver calls the play out. Goes to the left wing for Musselman. Musselman holds. Reverses back to Oliver. She'll shoot from about 25, and it's perfect. Cannot leave her open up to 25. Inbounds pass goes to Maribel Thornberry. She picks up her dribble, gets some help from Norman. Norman up the floor, and then Meadowbrook breaks the pressure down 8-4. 5:25 to go here in the first quarter. John Glenn really harassing Meadowbrook. That was Maya Oliver really giving the business to Taylor Sichna. Sichna turns it over, and the ball goes back to the Lady Muskies looking to build on this lead. Maya Oliver has 5. Riley Zemensky 3 for the Lady Muskies. And they have it on top with the Leo Musselman. Looking for Oliver now at the high post. Swing the ball back around to Emma Dolan. Dolan back to the high post and then gets it back. She'll shoot the 3 on the way. It's perfect. John Glenn banging into threes, and it is 11-4 in favor of the Lady Muskies, shooting well here in this first quarter. With the basketball, Emma Webster. She will hold. Now dribbles out of trouble and reverses the ball back to Maribel Thornby to the other side of the floor for Taylor Sichna. She goes to the high post for Norman. Norman has it tapped away by Oliver. Here comes Oliver 2-on-1. Gets the ball back on a play from Musselman and is fouled. Will go to the line for a pair of free throws, will Maya Oliver.
Both of these free throws, of course, tonight, Howard, they are brought to you by Amy Kissinger for Quincy County Commissioner. I've noticed most of the time when Meadowbrook is facing John Glenn, this set offense that John Glenn's running, John Glenn's really patient. Yes, they're taking threes, but a lot of them are coming off of some pretty good looks, off-ball movement, back screens, and then nice looks. And then when they're on the fast break, I notice a lot of them, they look to pass first.
Well, Meadowbrook, after Oliver nails the 2 free throws, turns it over again. Here comes Oliver trying to throw it down to Musselman in transition. Can't get it, so the ball back to Oliver. Shoot the 3, no good. Rebounded by Meadowbrook. By the way, Kenley Norman has 2 personal fouls for Meadowbrook, so keep your eye on that. And a timeout on the floor by Coach Chris Miles of Meadowbrook. Let's see what he is wanting to do. He's going to take a 30, so we'll keep it right here. The score is 13-4 in favor of John Glenn, leading the way for the Lady Muskies. Maya Oliver with 7, a couple of threes, one from Emma Dolan and one from Riley Zemensky. For Meadowbrook, a 3 by Kenley Norman, and Lauren Lasco, 1 of 2 from the line. So it looks from the vantage point here that Coach Miles of Meadowbrook wants to take a look just a little bit more at their press offense and try to get the ball into a better spot, because they've been having some trouble getting double teamed right on the sides of the floor. So perhaps an adjustment coming to get the ball in the middle of the floor for the Meadowbrook Colts.
Yeah, and John Glenn is doing a great job of keeping this press on them. Meadowbrook already with a handful of turnovers, which have led to some quick and easy John Glenn baskets. So as we can see coming off this inbound, doing the same thing, but we see a little bit more leisurely pressure here.
Maribel Thornberry stays with the dribble, picks it up now. And John Glenn back to that box and 1. Norman does get free, puts the shot up, no good. Rebounded off to the Muskies, and just a little bit too much on the outlet pass by Oliver. Not there, knocked out of bounds, last touched by John Glenn. So Meadowbrook will get the ball back. John Glenn stays in the man press. Nearly a steal by Musselman. Across the timeline come the Colts. They go back out on top for Taylor Sitchna. She will hold and go over to Emma Webster, reversing the ball back to Maribel Thornberry. Thornberry, right-handed drive, nearly another steal by Oliver. Oliver very handsy with her defense. Good feet, good hands. She's a good player.
And one name we're not saying a lot right now, number 32 for John Glenn, Jessica Church. She is on Norman like a hawk right now, not letting her leave her side at all.
Rebound off the shot to the Colts, and then driving back the other way and drawing the contact is Emma Webster. So Church comes in the lineup, and she picks up where Oliver was at. And a couple of free throws coming for Webster. Personal foul goes against Madeline Winland for John Glenn. That is her second here in the first quarter. Free throw on the way, in and out, no good. One more coming. Coming into the lineup is Aubrey Larrick for John Glenn, and she will replace Winland, who will sit with the 2 personals. One more free throw coming for the Amy Kissinger for Guernsey County. Free throws, and it's up, and it's good for Emma Webster. Meadowbrook now a 2-2-1 three-quarter court press. John Glenn double teamed, gets the ball reversed back. It is Oliver across the timeline with the spin dribble. Over to Musselman, to Church, back to Oliver. Oliver will reset things and pick up her dribble. Go to Zemensky, who's in the left wing, and reversing back on top to Church. Meadowbrook now in a 1-3-1 defense, so they've changed defenses out of that timeout. They'll go back to Oliver. She'll drive and kick back to the other way. It's Church. Shot no good. Rebounded, knocked around, picked up by John Glenn's. Church over to Oliver. Oliver back to Zemensky, to the high post, and then inside to Larrick. She is tied up. Personal foul will be called against the Lady Colts, and that will be their 3rd of this first quarter. And they're going to say that Larrick was in the act of shooting, so a little bit of a break there for John Glenn. Could have possibly not been shooting, but Maribel Thornberry picks up her first. And 2 free throws coming for Larrick. First one's no good. Those are Amy Kissinger for Guernsey County Commissioner. Free throws. And let's see, taking a seat is Aaliyah Musselman for John Glenn. Second one by Larrick's perfect. So she is on the board. It's 14-5. John Glenn stays with the pressure, the full court man. And trying to get out of the trap area is Maribel Thornberry. She picks it up, goes long over the timeline, and then Meadowbrook avoids trouble with 2 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Ball in the corner, nearly a steal. Now they do come up with that the Lady Muskies, and driving the length of the floor and then getting fouled on the drive are the Lady Muskies. A personal, I believe, is going to go against Lakin Lesko and make it Emma Webster her first. And a couple of free throws coming for the Lady Muskies. Those are the Amy Kissinger free throws. First one's good. That is Jessica Church, who's had some injuries and is just rounding back into playing shape, we are told. And one more coming for Church, the 6-foot junior. Second one's perfect. John Glenn, 5 of 6 free throw shooting here in this first quarter.
We got number 20, Elena Berry, checking in for the Muskies.
16-5. Meadowbrook with some trouble getting the inbounds. They avoid the double team, do the Lady Colts. They cross the timeline. Keep in mind they're doing this without Norman, who had to sit with the 2 fouls. So Meadowbrook kind of hanging in there. Long ball on the way, shot no good by Meadowbrook's Braylon Thompson, but offensive rebound to the Colts with 1:30 to go. So Meadowbrook just trying to survive, can't do it because Maya Oliver comes up with the steal and the layup. It's good.
When she got the ball in her hands, she took off, and she had some great speed to get past the defenders and get an easy bucket.
18-5 in favor of John Glenn with 1 minute and 2 seconds to go here in the first quarter from John Glenn. It's been all Muskies the entire way, but Meadowbrook having some difficulty. Now they do have Kenley Norman back in the lineup. She is double teamed, drives to the basket, then kicks back out for the 3. Shot is up, and it's a perfect 3. That is Emma Webster. Meadowbrook needed that. It is 18-8. Driving and then kicking for the Lady Muskies is Elena Berry, and now Maya Oliver will settle things down. She'll go to Church. She has the open 3, passes it back up to Oliver. Oliver will reverse over to Emma Dolan. Looks like John Glenn going to hold for 1 shot. Down to 20 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Meadowbrook stays in the 1-3-1, and John Glenn just going to have Maya Oliver dribble out on top in no big hurry with 10 seconds to go here in the first quarter. That is Oliver. She will kick to the corner, and then a long ball on the way is no good. Rebounded at the buzzer, no good, but a foul right at the end of the quarter, and I think John Glenn will be getting free throws.
Yeah, the official signaled 2 shots, and because the quarter ended, they're just going to let her take these 2 shots. Nobody by her sides at all.
Lakin Lesko guilty of the personal foul, and a couple of free throws coming for Church. Misses the first one, one more coming with the score 18-8. Second one's good. All right, we have played 1 quarter. Those free throws from Amy Kissinger for Guernsey County Commissioner. We'll take a break and come right back with the second quarter. It's 19-8 after 1.
Promises. You've heard them all. Peace of mind, quality insurance products, superior claim service, all at a fair and competitive price. Since 1848, Westfield Insurance has promised to provide excellent insurance coverage for your home, auto, and business. Sharing knowledge, building trust. That is Westfield Insurance's pledge to their customers. For a quote on protecting your home, auto, and business, call W.B. Green Insurance today. W.B. Green, professional insurance.
You're watching high school basketball on ABC Sports and YRP TV. For a look at all things high school basketball, visit yourradioplace.com.
And we welcome welcome you back to the John Glenn girls battling these Meadowbrook Lady Colts. This game brought to you exclusively by WB Green Insurance, the sole sponsor of this one. And after one quarter, 19-8 in favor of the Lady Muskies. I want to remind you too, the player of the game from +1 pizza for a Meadowbrook player and the Lock 9 pizza from a John Glenn recipient. Meadowbrook stays in the 1-3-1. John Glenn has the basketball. Church skips across to Oliver. Oliver holds, goes to the wing, back to Oliver. Oliver swings over to Elena Berry, and then the ball stolen away inside by the Lady Colts, down 19-8, 7:30 to go here in the second quarter. Driving inside all the way to the basket and knocked the ball away was Maribel Thornberry, last touched by John Glenn. So Meadowbrook will inbound underneath their own basket. That will be Taylor Sichna trying to find some help. Finally gets it in, and a long ball on the way from the corner, no good by Webster, and rebounded off to John Glenn. And the Muskies have the ball in the corner, nearly knocked out of bounds by Webster, and the officials say yes, in fact, it was knocked out of bounds. So John Glenn will maintain possession with Riley Zeminski, the inbounder, and she will go to Aaliyah Musselman, back to Zeminski, over to Elena Berry. Nearly a steal by Sichna from Meadowbrook, and now they're going to say that Maya Oliver touched the ball in the transaction there, so turnover goes to Meadowbrook. Well, good defense that time by Sichna.
Yeah, Meadowbrook definitely trying to do their best to give John Glenn a taste of what they've been receiving throughout the first quarter, and that's just some tough defense.
Kenley Norman will check into the lineup for Meadowbrook, so she sits that first minute or so. Keep in mind she picked up the 2 quick fouls. Shot from the corner on the way by the Lady Colts. No good, it rimmed in and out. And that was Braylon Thompson. And then ball back to John Glenn. Oliver on the wing, no good. Rebounded inside by Berry, no good. Rebounded off to Meadowbrook. And here comes Norman's shot in transition, no good. Rebounded by Oliver. Oliver crosses over left to right, goes behind her back, drives inside and comes back outside, and will reset things over to Berry, to the corner for Musselman, to Zeminski. She'll drive inside, be fouled, and score the basket.
Yeah, as a defender, she went out. She didn't have her hands up, but she kept moving forward, and main reason why the officials called that foul, you got to stay stationary to not have that call on you. They called out on number 10 for Meadowbrook.
Yeah, that's the number 2 foul on Lakin Lasco. And going to the line for the 3-point play possibility is Riley Zeminski, 21-8 in favor of the Lady Muskies. Free throw, no good. Rebounded to the Lady Colts. And they go ahead up the floor with Emma Webster. Webster picks up the dribble, goes over to Taylor Sichna, and Sichna will put the ball around the floor. Double team goes against Braylon Thompson, then back to Webster. And she will pick up the dribble and go to the corner for Sichna. She'll drive inside, miss the layup, and rebounded off to John Glenn. And that is Oliver going all the way to the basket, no good. Rebounded by Zeminski, up
good
off
up
the
and
glass,
under.
and good.
That was a good look. She was going to go up, kind of had the ball fake there, went underneath, and when she did that, she was able to have a wide open look at the rim after being contested.
Emma Webster will drive inside for Meadowbrook, misses the shot, and then Zeminski on the tie-up after the rebound is fouled. And if that's on Webster, that would be her second.
And Zeminski, if for anybody who stays up to date with everything that ABC Sports does, she's the one that had the game-winning goal in double overtime in the regional semifinals against Dover in soccer.
Okay, good to know. Coming up with the steal is Kenley Norman. And she tries to, she throws it right in the hands of Oliver. Boy, that's good job by Oliver of jumping into the passing lane. An easy steal. And Kenley Norman would like to have that one back over. 25-8. Crossing the timeline is Sichna. Aaliyah Musselman on her, gets the screen, goes inside to Norman. Norman forces her way up, misses the shot, but will draw the contact and go to the line for a pair of free throws. Norman's had it a little bit difficult here in this first half. John Glenn has really put the clamps on her.
Yeah, the defense for John Glenn is definitely doing what they've done best all year, and that's be intense all around. Even on the previous possession when Maya Oliver got the steal, you just see Norman's face. Good Lord, this defense is everywhere. And that's been the story of this game, which is why the Muskies have the lead that they do.
Norman makes the first free throw, one more coming. Jessica Church checks back in, taking a seat will be Aaliyah Musselman. Second free throw on the way is perfect by Norman. She has 5 of the 10 for the Lady Colts. And Meadowbrook stays in the 1-3-1. Out on top is Taylor Sichna. And John Glenn looks like they'll attack it with 3 guards. A wing, high post, and then the corner. So Zeminski in the corner is double teamed out of that 1-3-1 and has it taken away by Maribel Thornberry. Thornberry drives back the floor the other way, kicks over to Webster. She'll shoot the shot from 15, no good, rebounded inside, and then kick back out to Sichna. She'll bury the 3. And John Glenn is going to take a 30-second timeout with the score 25-13. So Meadowbrook playing that 1-3-1. They tried to go on top with the horizontal 3-guard look and then the ball side high post, then kick to the corner. But Meadowbrook, as I'm sure they have practiced, anytime the ball went to the corner on that overloaded side, in this case it was Zeminski, the automatic double team, and Meadowbrook did a very good job defensively on that. So Coach Sigmund, I'm sure, working on some thoughts about, okay, we know now that anytime we go to the corner on the ball side, strong side, they're going to double team. So let's look more at the high post, reverse the ball back out on top, and have Zeminski run the baseline in order to get free on the other side. So my guess is that's probably what Coach Sigmund discussed in the timeout. We'll find out. Across the timeline is Zeminski. Kicks over to Emma Dolan, who's checked back in, and Dolan loses it out of bounds. So ball back to the Lady Colts. Meadowbrook making a little bit of a run here, down 25-13, in some trouble. They will throw long, and then a double team goes against the Lady Colts. They get it back to Sichna. She crosses the timeline, picks it up, and then gets some help from Kenley Norman, who go, and then inside, shot up, no good. Offensive rebound put back in, and then a kick out to Sichna, no good. Rebounded off to John Glenn. And here come the Lady Muskies. They will go inside to Oliver, misses the free throw, and then goes over the top for the personal foul. That will be her first here in the game.
Definitely a bit of a frustration foul by Maya. Not a shot she typically misses, so, very much reasonable to have that frustration. And
Maribel Thornberry has it go off her hands on the press offense.
Officials are saying it's off of Sichna. John Glenn ball.
Yes. And now John Glenn going to take another timeout?
Well, the previous timeout was Meadowbrook.
Okay, I stand corrected then. So John Glenn now takes the timeout. So let's see what Coach Miles and Coach Sigmund can dial up here. The score is 25-13. It is a 30-second timeout, and this is going to give Coach Sigmund the thought back to when I believed it was their timeout of drawing up. We can see him from our vantage point drawing some things up and how to attack this 1-3-1 defense of the Lady Colts. So Meadowbrook coming back on defense. They will stay, it looks like, with the 1-3-1. And John Glenn, let's see what they dial up offensively in the half court. That's Jessica Church to Maya Oliver. And Oliver crosses the timeline. And Meadowbrook double teams right away at the timeline. John Glenn goes to the corner. Shot on the way, no good. Rebounded off to the Colts. That is Kenley Norman. She'll lose the dribble. And nope, we got one official saying Meadowbrook, one official saying John Glenn. Who's going to get it? It's going to be Meadowbrook. 3:05 to go, second quarter.
I've noticed Zemensky on her, on one of her hands, her right hand, her thumb is taped up, and she's constantly going down and holding that thumb. So we'll see if she, has any issues ball handling right now. So
Webster misses the shot. John Glenn comes down on the transition, misses the shot, and then a foul on the floor goes against the Lady Muskies. That Elena Berry foul will be her first, and that will be the third team foul in the second quarter for John Glenn at the 2:52 mark. Aaliyah Musselman back into the game, and she will replace, it looks like Jessica Church will be taking a seat. Or no, make that Riley Zemensky taking a seat. Meadowbrook will have Taylor Sichna as the inbounder. John Glenn with the press. Trying to get out of it is Maribel Thornberry. Gets it across the timeline and then kicked out of bounds by Webster. Ball back to John Glenn. This last couple of minutes hasn't been a work of art for either team, and now the officials are going to discuss things again. They may give this ball, they're going to stay with John Glenn. I thought maybe they might give it to Meadowbrook, but they will stay with the call. Muskies basketball. Now Meadowbrook will extend the defense. Looks like a diamond and one, three-quarter court press. John Glenn breaks it with the two-guard front. It's Oliver. She kicks it off a foot of Lakin Lasco. Ball settles all the way down the other end of the court. Official has to retrieve it. So 2:29 to go here in this second quarter. John Glenn with just 6 points in the quarter. Meadowbrook with 5. 25-13.
Tried to zip that pass and just threw it right at the defender.
John Glenn will inbound underneath their own basket. In the corner is Barry. She'll shoot the long shot. No good. Rebounded off to Taylor Sichna, and then a foul on the floor goes against Church. And that's her first and team's fourth here in the second quarter. So Meadowbrook hanging around. And with the basketball, Maribel Thornberry picks up the dribble, goes to Taylor Sichna, over to Emma Webster. She will go inside and draw the contact. And up, they're going to say player control foul against Webster. And that will be her third. And she will probably have to take a seat. She sits down with 4 points if she gets to that point. Looks like Coach Miles going to leave her in. 25-13 down to 2:10 to go here in the second quarter. Long pass to the corner, then back on top, swinging the ball back to the other corner. And then that is Aaliyah Musselman will set things back up with the Muskies on top. Two-guard front, Oliver over to Musselman. Look to the high post, tries to throw across the floor against this 1-3-1. Not a good idea. And Meadowbrook comes back the other way off the steal with Kenley Norman. And the foul goes against Emma Dolan from John Glenn. And a couple of free throws coming for Kenley Norman. She is 2 of 2 from the free throw stripe. First one's good. So Meadowbrook's defense been a little bit sticky for John Glenn here in this second quarter. John Glenn still with the safe lead, 25-14 with one more free throw coming. Second one's good, so it still remains double figures for John Glenn.
Now, a lot of those poor defensive performances by John Glenn have come at the fact that their offense has struggled a little bit. They haven't been as efficient as they wanted to be. You see a lot of bad passes, bad shots going through, which gives Meadowbrook, a good chance to get down the floor quick, get those shots up.
Shot by John Glenn's no good. That's Dolan, but offensive rebound to the Muskies with 1:20 to go. Looks like John Glenn's going to probably hold for one. They have the two-guard front, a wing, two wings, and then the baseline player for The Muskies, they will bounce to the high post and stolen away, and then a jump ball called, and possession arrow to Meadowbrook. One thing this 1-3-1 has done, it has taken somewhat Maya Oliver out of the game. She has not had as many good looks as she had in the first quarter. 25-15, so Meadowbrook can get as close as they have been in a while with 1 minute to go here in the second quarter. Bounce to the high post, stolen away by John Glenn, and then a jump ball called, possession arrow to the Lady Muskies. Under a minute to go here in the second quarter. By the way, all free throws tonight brought to you by Amy Kissinger for Guernsey County Commissioner, and we've had a bunch of them. Meadowbrook will press half court. They nearly throw it away. Last touch, however, by Meadowbrook, and that was Maribel Thornberry. So John Glenn will inbound underneath their own basket. It will be Maya Oliver, the inbounder. She has Riley Zeminski on the block, and the inbounds pass misses it, rebounded off to the Lady Colts. And here they come, and a 2-on-1 break. They will go to Norman from the corner. Bang, it's good. Or make that Taylor Sichna. Taylor Sichna bangs in a three.
Sichna with the hot hand this quarter.
She's got 2 threes. It's 25-18. And John Glenn with 20 seconds to go has really seen Meadowbrook do a nice job. Oliver, ball fakes and then goes to the corner for Dolan. She will go back out on top, and Oliver has it and will reset things down with 7. John Glenn going to have to shoot it near the buzzer. Shot up, no good by Zeminski. And then at the buzzer, a launch, but no good. So after 2 quarters of play, Meadowbrook with a very good second frame as they outscore John Glenn 10-6. But Lady Muskies still in control of the basketball game at the break. It is 25-18. We want to remind you a couple of things before we go to ONN. This game brought to you exclusively tonight by WB Green Insurance, our sole sponsor of this contest. Also, the live scoreboard updates are brought to you tonight by Clark Family Practice. Amy Kissinger for Guernsey County Commissioner has been the sponsor of free throws. Player of the game, +1 pizza for Meadowbrook. Player of the game, Lock 9 pizza for John Glenn. We'll send it back to the studio for ONN. When we come back, we'll have some halftime numbers, so stick around. It's 25-18 in favor of John Glenn.
From the Ohio News Network, this is the Ohio Education Association Tonight in High School Hoops. Now here's your host, Eric Reeser.
It was a historic day in Columbus in late January, Sunday, January 21st to be exact. A women's college basketball game was the talk of the town and the focus of an entire country. The second-ranked Iowa Hawkeyes, led by senior sensation Caitlin Clark, came into the Schottenstein Center having won 15 games in a row. The 18th-ranked Ohio State women's squad was on a 5-game winning streak, but this was the biggest home game of the entire season and one of the biggest games in program history. You'll hear from Ohio State's head coach Kevin McGuff on his team's historic day next. This is the Ohio News Network.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Get a recap of all the day's news from across the state.
ONN affiliate WBNS TV in Columbus has more.
Haley Kirby reporting in downtown Toledo.
From the State House, Kevin Landers.
ONN Canton.
ONN affiliate WKYC TV in Cleveland explains.
In Marietta, Brett Wharf, ONN News.
Emma Henderson in Genoa.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Listen at ONNradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts from the Ohio News Network.
In Ohio, public education matters. And every day, Ohio's public school educators use their united voice to advocate for the supports and resources our public schools need so every child thrives. No exceptions. I'm Ohio Education Association President Scott DeMauro, and on behalf of our 120,000 members, OEA is proud to sponsor tonight's game. Because great public schools are a winning playbook for Ohio, and Ohio is stronger when we stand together to cheer for our students' success.
This is ONN.
And I'm Eric Reeser. On Sunday, January 21st at the Schottenstein Center on the campus of The Ohio State University in Columbus, the Ohio State women's basketball team ranked 18th in the Associated Press Top 25 poll, hosted the second-ranked Iowa Hawkeyes in front of a sellout crowd of 18,660, the largest indoor regular season crowd for a women's basketball game this season, and the highest home attendance in the history of the Ohio State women's program. OSU overcame a 12-point fourth-quarter deficit to force overtime and get the eventual 192 win over the Hawkeyes. Speaking with ONN affiliate WBNS-FM in Columbus, head coach Kevin McGuff knew his team was up to the task, down double digits.
I called timeout down 12 and, kind of huddled up with the coaches. And it's sometimes you got to go into the huddle and you got to inspire confidence in your team in that moment. I walked into the huddle and they're all looking at each other, yelling at each other, "We got this. We got this. We're not going away." And so I was like, all right, I didn't have to say a whole lot. And so really our players were extremely motivated. They were extremely confident, and it was just really great to see them play the way they did down the stretch.
It was a total team effort as all 5 of Ohio State's starters scored in double figures. Forward Cody McMahon, a sophomore from Centerville, led the Buckeyes with 33 points and 12 rebounds, a career high from her in points. Guard J.C. Sheldon, a senior from Dublin, added in 24. Coach McGuff says it's those leaders who made that win possible.
I was so happy for J.C. Sheldon, who's invested so much in this program, and she's from right here in Dublin. She's just a great kid. And then the performance Cody had yesterday, my gosh, she was just incredible. And she just single-handedly on some of those possessions just willed us to baskets, willed us to rebounds. And if you spend any time around Cody, her personality is just so amazing. She's gonna have some great opportunities in NIL, and rightfully so.
It was a nationally televised win in front of a sold-out home crowd. The TV ratings for big-time women's college basketball games have never been higher. Coach McGuff says he's appreciative of the support his programs received.
No, it is a great time to be involved with this sport. Last year was just incredible. The like you mentioned, the NCAA tournament, the viewership, and just the passion, the energy. And if you look around the Big Ten, around the country, everybody's attendance numbers are way up. And so it's really cool to be a part of this. I'm really happy for our kids that they get to experience things like this. Not only what we did yesterday, but some of the environments that we're going to see on the road. I can only imagine what it's going to be like in Iowa City for the last regular season game of the year. We're going to be walking into a hornet's nest. I think we all know that. But that's going to make it cool, though. It's going to make it fun, and this is what people who are invested in women's basketball have dreamed of, and we're making great progress, and we got to keep pushing.
That was Ohio State women's basketball coach Kevin McGuff speaking with ONN affiliate WBNS-FM in Columbus. Entering the last full week in January, Ohio State's tied for first place in the Big Ten standings with Iowa and Indiana. All 3 teams have 1 loss in conference play. The Buckeyes will travel to Iowa City on Sunday, March 3rd to play the Hawkeyes one more time in the regular season. That's the finale for both squads. And there's a good chance they could see each other a 3rd time in the Big Ten tournament in Minneapolis this coming March. For the Ohio News Network, I'm Eric Reeser.
You're watching high school basketball on ABC Sports and YRP-TV. For a look at all things high school basketball, visit yourradioplace.com.
We're back to East Muskingum Schools, home of the John Glenn Lady Muskies. Glad to be a part of your Wednesday evening girls basketball contest here on Facebook, YRP-TV, yourradioplace.com, and also seeing a good basketball game where the Lady Muskies at the break are leading the Lady Colts of Meadowbrook 25-18. After one quarter, it was all John Glenn. They led 19-8. They were led in that first quarter by Maya Oliver's 9 points. For the Lady Colts of Meadowbrook, it was Emma Webster with 4 points. But in the second quarter, Meadowbrook changed defenses, and they employed most of the way a half-court 1-3-1. They did a little bit of trapping later in the second quarter and slowed down John Glenn quite a bit. And they actually outscored the Lady Muskies 10-6, held high-scoring Maya Oliver to just 2 points, and really did a nice job defensively, did the Lady Colts.
And those 2 points, if you remember, those came off of a steal and a quick basket in transition. Other than that, Maya has been shut down. From the Colts giving up, 19 points in the first quarter to just 6.
Yeah.
Definitely a big improvement for the Lady Colts.
Yeah, what was happening is that Oliver just wasn't getting the freedom that she got, especially in the transition game. Meadowbrook really slowed them down with the zone defense. So hats off to Coach Miles, and I'm sure that John Glenn in the locker room tightened some things up, and I would expect a pretty good effort in the second half for the Lady Muskies. Scoring for Meadowbrook in the first half, it was Kenley Norman leading the way with 7. A Trey 4 from the line. Taylor Sichna had a pair of threes for 6. Emma Webster had a 3, 1 of 2 from the line for 4. And Lakin Lasco was 1 of 2 from the line for the single point. Adds up to 18. For the Lady Muskies leading the way, no surprise, it was Maya Oliver with 11, a couple of deuces, a Trey 2 of 2 from the line for the 11. Emma Dolan had a Trey for 3. Riley Zemensky had 7, a Trey 2 twos, 0 of 1 from the line. Jessica Church was 3 of 3 from the line. Aubrey Larrick was 1 of 2 from the line. It adds up to 25. So with the basketball to start the second half here in just a minute or so, Brett, what do you think about the second half?
I think if Meadowbrook can start the second half, apply that good defensive pressure that they didn't really have in that first quarter. You know, that 1-3-1 was working for them really well, stopping Maya and a handful of other scores for John Glenn. Keep up that defensive pressure, and then something they definitely need to do more effectively in the second half, just start hitting open shots, get those open looks, and make them. You know, they've had a handful of times where they've been taking baskets down in the paint, but the height hasn't really been on their side, so it's been a disadvantage to them, and that really hasn't, you know, helped them get any points on the board. So keep up the defensive pressure and then make your open shots. That's going to be key going into the second half for the Lady Colts.
All right, on the other side of the coin, John Glenn, one would think, do a little bit better job in their half-court offense against the 1-3-1, which I'm going to guess Meadowbrook will use. Why not?
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if John Glenn, if the Lady Muskies can find a way to better attack that 1-3-1, maybe start looking to get some of your post players involved, get some open shots down there. Because obviously, as a team, you can't rely on one player to do all of your scoring. So just finding different ways to be more efficient on offense should help the Lady Muskies out, get that second half rolling for them.
Meadowbrook will have the basketball to start the second half. And on the floor for John Glenn, the original starting 5 of Oliver, Dolan, Zemensky, Musselman, and Winland. For Meadowbrook, it'll be Norman, Sichna, Lasco, Thornberry, and Webster. Taylor Sichna will be the inbounder for Meadowbrook. And let's see what John Glenn decides. It looks like they're going to go into a zone. Maybe a 2-1-2 look. Yep, 2-1-2. It's going to be Sichna back out on top. John Glenn extends it a little bit defensively, and a double dribble called against Thornberry. So John Glenn, without any kind of ball pressure, picks up the turnover by Meadowbrook, the double dribble.
Definitely not the start you want for the Lady Colts.
That is Musselman over to Maya Oliver, back to Musselman. This is really slowing John Glenn down. Oliver to the middle of the floor, and Zemensky over to Winland. Winland throws it away, and here come the Lady Colts in transition. And that is Norman. Norman will give to Webster. She'll reverse it over to Thornberry, then kicked out of bounds by Emma Dolan. So ball back to Meadowbrook, 25-18. The Lady Colts trailing by 7. Early part of the third quarter here from John Glenn. That is Thornberry against the zone of Meadowbrook. They will bounce inside, and then the shot layup missed by Webster, rebounded off to John Glenn. Musselman, but stolen away by Sichna. Sichna in transition scores the basket. And a timeout goes for the Lady Muskies. And that's going to give us a chance to take a look at our sponsors tonight. Again, WB Green Insurance, the sole sponsor of this contest, and we certainly appreciate all the efforts of WB Green being the sole sponsor. So early going here in this third quarter, Meadowbrook has the only 2 points that came just a second ago on the Taylor Sichna steal and then transition layup. So what Meadowbrook decided to do at the halftime break is bring out the double team right around the half-court mark. John Glenn with the two-guard look and then kick into the middle of the floor across the timeline. But unfortunately for the Lady Muskies, Meadowbrook reading some of the passing lanes and has good spacing. They come up with the steal. So Coach Sigmund calls timeout for John Glenn, and I'm sure he's got some things cooked up in his huddle, but the Lady Colts have cut it to 5, 25-20 here in the third quarter.
Yeah, and kind of the start you were hoping for Meadowbrook. Obviously, the first two possessions, turnovers, not what you want to see, but high defensive intensity, leading to mistakes by the Lady Muskies, which in turn is points for the Lady Colts, and now it's a 5-point game, like you mentioned.
Maya Oliver crosses the timeline with the dribble, and then they throw it away. Coming up with it is Webster, and here comes Meadowbrook down the floor. That is in transition, shot up no good by Thornberry. The rebound on the floor is loose, and then a personal foul called against Meadowbrook. So that will go against the Lady Colts, and that will be number 2 on Thornberry. John Glenn again crosses the timeline. Here comes Zeminski all the way to the basket and scores it. Riley Zeminski has 9. John Glenn with the double team, and here comes Meadowbrook on the run. Thornberry loses it to Oliver. Oliver does a great job of stealing that and comes back the other way. She will dribble out on top with the two-guard front against this 1-3-1 of Meadowbrook. Back to Oliver, over to Dolan. Dolan will hold to the right side for Zeminski. Zeminski reverse back to Dolan, to Oliver. Oliver holds and then goes to the corner. Bounce pass to Zeminski at the high post. She will drive inside and turn it over. Once again, the Meadowbrook defense really giving fits to John Glenn in the half court. They were not able to get a shot off. However, they do lead 27-20, and they do have the press on. Do the Lady Muskies. Breaking it are the Colts, and then layup back the other way is perfect. And that is Lincoln Lasco in transition. Back comes John Glenn, double teamed over to Zeminski. She'll shoot from 15, it's good. Riley Zeminski with the basket. She has all 4. Thrown the other way. And holding it is Meadowbrook. Then driving inside and shot up by Thornberry, no good. Rebounded by Winland. Winland kicks over to Zeminski. Zeminski drives all the way to the basket, loses the basketball. Here's Kenley Norman, 2-on-3. She'll pull from 15, no good. Rebounded by Winland. This is the pace that I think John Glenn wants. I don't think Meadowbrook wants to stay in this kind of a track meet. Foul on the floor, no call. Instead, a shot on the way, a no good by John Glenn. Rebound loose on the floor, picked up by Zeminski. She kicks it, knocked out of bounds, picked back up by John Glenn. And here we go again for the Lady Muskies, 4:40 to go, third quarter. Ball the other way and then back on top for Dolan to Oliver. She'll shoot long shot, it's perfect. Big time shot by Maya Oliver, 32-22. Now she steals it and makes the layup. Just as what John Glenn can do. They can score quickly with that press. Here's Kenley Norman, gets by 1, gets by 2, gets by 3, goes the other way, then kicks over to Webster. She will drive baseline, pull the shot up, no good. Rebound knocked around. I think it's going to stay with John Glenn. Yep. Ball by Meadowbrook, not able to there. Jessica Church coming back in the lineup. She will replace Riley Zeminski, who will sit down with 11 points.
I thought this was interesting, noticing a handful of shots Maya's taken. A lot of her misses have come from, 6 to 8 feet, mid-range shots, but you get her a handful of steps behind the line, and they've been perfect.
She has her feet set. She's a very, very good shooter. That's Church over to Dolan, back on top. With the basketball is Oliver. She'll hold over to Dolan. Dolan bounce pass to the corner for Aaliyah Musselman. Tapped away by Meadowbrook. stays in the hands of John Glenn, 34-22 at the 3:52 mark of the third quarter. Aaliyah Musselman will be the inbounder for the Lady Muskies. Looks, finally gets it into the high post, and Windland back on top to Dolan. Dolan holds, and now back over to Oliver. Oliver, left-handed dribble, reverses it to Dolan. Dolan to the right corner for Musselman, then finally inside they go, and then a shot up is no good by Church, and rebounded by Meadowbrook, and then up the other way, and a fast break is no good by Norman, tapped away, last touched by John Glenn. So Meadowbrook with a little bit of transition going and not able to convert, so they will keep the basketball underneath their own basket. They're looking for Kenley Norman coming off the screen. Instead, they'll go inside. Shot no good, but getting her own rebound is Lakin Lasco. Back on top, nearly a steal by Oliver on Taylor Sichna. Sichna now in the corner, and then a long three on the way is no good by Braylon Thompson, but Meadowbrook with their own rebound, then stolen away by Madison Windland. Off to Maya Oliver. Oliver kicks the ball back out on top. Windland has it, and she will give things to Oliver to reset the offense with 2:50 to go here in the third. Inside it will go. Shot up, no good by Church. Rebounded by Windland. She is fouled and will go to the line for a pair of free throws. Personal foul number 3 on Lakin Lasco. And Madison Windland will go to the line for the Lady Muskies. First one, back iron, no good. One more coming. Riley Zemensky checking back in, as is Elena Berry for John Glenn. Taking a seat is Emma Webster for Meadowbrook. One more free throw coming for Windland. That is the Amy Kissinger for Guernsey County Commissioner free throw. Second one, no good. Rebounded to Taylor Sichna. Sichna over to Maribel Thornberry with the left-handed dribble, and a foul on the floor goes against Aaliyah Musselman, and I believe that'll be her third with 2:37 to go here in the third quarter. Sichna will be the inbounder. Stack will go over to Thornberry. John Glenn with the man. They will double team at the timeline. Taylor Sichna back over to Thornberry. She'll put the shot up, no good. Rebounded by Norman, shot no good. Rebounded by Zemensky. She will fly down the floor the other way, all the way to the basket and score. Riley Zemensky has 6 here in this third quarter, 36-22.
Zemensky showing good ball control and body control to really avoid any defenders, and she's done great up close at the rim this quarter.
Long shot by Braylon Thompson, no good, but rebounded by Taylor Sichna, and she'll bomb the three, 36-25. Meadowbrook with the half-court trap to the middle of the floor, then thrown away by John Glenn. Back to Meadowbrook, and that is Thornberry. Thinks about the three, now drives inside, puts the shot up, it's blocked, and it will stay with the Colts. Coming back in the lineup will be Emma Webster, and taking a seat will be Lakin Lasco for Meadowbrook. Inbound will go to Webster, no good, misses the shot. Windland on the rebound for John Glenn, down to 1:30 to go here in the third quarter. That is Oliver in the corner, long shot on the way is up, and it's good. That's Aaliyah Musselman with her first basket of the game. It's a triple, 39-25. John Glenn sure likes to make a living on these threes. That's Thornberry to the corner. Thinking about the three was Braylon Thompson. Nearly a steal on the floor, but Meadowbrook able to come back up with it. Then driving baseline is Norman. She will kick to Sichna, who will go to Thornberry in the corner. No good. Rebounded to Musselman. Musselman ahead with 50 seconds to go. And the Muskies in control and the lead, 39-25. And that is Elena Berry holding. Over to Maya Oliver. Oliver reverse to Bailey. To the corner now for Zeminski. Zeminski to the baseline and then kicks it back out. Nice job that time by John Glenn. Shot no good. Rebound inside by Winland over to Zeminski. Zeminski scores.
Zeminski having a high-scoring third quarter, doing a handful of the basket making for the Lady Muskies.
It is 41-25 with 12 seconds to go here in the third quarter. And the time winding down for the Colts. That's Kenley Norman trying to get out of trouble. She will go to the corner. Thornberry at the buzzer. No good. And that will end the third quarter. So after 3, we have John Glenn 41 and Meadowbrook 25. Back in a flash.
In today's marketplace, you have many choices for insurance. WB Green Insurance, a representative of Westfield Insurance, is committed to providing you with excellent coverage for your home and auto at a fair and competitive price. Westfield has been in the neighborhood for over 150 years, providing peace of mind and quality insurance products through independent insurance professionals. Sharing knowledge, building trust is Westfield's pledge to their customers. Call WB Green Insurance today.
You're watching high school basketball on ABC Sports and YRP TV. For a look at all things high school basketball, visit yourradioplace.com.
All right, we have played 3 quarters here at John Glenn High School, and this game brought to you exclusively by WB Green Insurance. The live score updates by Clark Family Practice. The post-game awards, +1 pizza to a Meadowbrook player. The Lock 9 Pizza Player of the Game to a John Glenn recipient. And the free throws by Amy Kissinger for Guernsey County Commissioner. In 1 quarter to play, John Glenn had seen the lead shrink to 5, but a run at the end of the last 2 minutes of the third quarter expands the lead to 16. And the Lady Muskies have the basketball. And Zeminski has it go off her hands, and the turnover will go back to Meadowbrook. The Colts need a basket here. Quick substitution. Braylon Thompson will sit down for Meadowbrook. Let's see if they can find Kenley Norman, who's actually, in the corner looking for the basketball. Now she comes to the high post, gets it, tries to muscle her way inside, up off glass, no good. Rebounded off to the Colts. It's Thornberry, no good. Rebound knocked around on the floor. It comes to Oliver, right place, right time. Scores the layup, draws the contact, will go to the line. Boy, Maya Oliver, excellent pursuit of the basketball that time, and really did a nice job of running the floor. And that will be a personal foul going against the Lady Colts. And a free throw coming for Oliver is good. She is perfect from the line for 3. She has 19 points. 44-25, the lead has ballooned back up for John Glenn. Back comes Norman, shot up, no good, but she'll draw the contact and go to the line. So Kenley Norman was scoreless in that third quarter, and she will go to the line for a pair. Personal foul goes against Elena Berry of John Glenn. First free throw missed by Kenley Norman. And 1 more coming.
And tonight, just not a very high-scoring night for Kenley Norman. You know, only 7 points tonight. Missed both free throws, so definitely not the production you typically see out of her tonight.
It's Oliver missing the layup and then knocked out of bounds, so ball back to Meadowbrook. Aaliyah Musselman checks back in. Taking a seat will be Elena Berry. Inbounds to Maribel Thornberry. She will get the ball reversed back from Taylor Sichna. She'll go ahead. And the Lady Colts will try to set things up with Emma Webster. And then the shot on the corner is no good by Kenley Norman. Rebounded by Riley Zeminski. She'll drive the floor, score the layup.
Zeminski not being afraid to take it to the basket. That's where majority of her 17 points have come from tonight.
Meadowbrook with the basketball. Another steal by Maya Oliver. She comes the other way, misses the shot. no foul called, and there was definitely contact. Here comes Meadowbrook. It's Webster back into the corner, and nearly another steal. Yes, there is by Emma Dolan. It's 3-on-1, Oliver to Zemensky. Zemensky up, and it's good.
I don't know. I think Riley Zemensky's trying to tell you, I want that Lock 9 Pizza player of the game, Howard.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be a full timeout. We can talk about that. Zemensky has 19 points. Oliver has 19 points, so 38 of the 48 have come from those two. So, yeah, when you talk about the player of the game, both of them have done an outstanding job. And if you look things beyond the points, boy, Riley Zemensky running the floor, she has just been outstanding, dynamite. But at the same time, Maya Oliver, her hands defensively, coming up with the steals. Boy, she's a tremendous defensive player. Those are two very good players for John Glenn. And by the way, they're both just juniors. So John Glenn, they're still a ways away for tournaments, but they could be a tough out in the tournament. And then next year, they've got a lot of talent coming back. So John Glenn with a bright future, Brent.
Yeah, and, especially with them returning next year, your team can only get better. The senior class, yes, it has a handful of players who you hate to see leave, but, when you have an 1,000-point scorer in Maya Oliver as a junior, and then obviously Zemensky, who's been all over the floor tonight, having those assets back on the team are going to be great for next year. And then, obviously tonight, 38 of 48 points for the Lady Muskies.
Meadowbrook sees the defensive pressure by John Glenn. They will most likely double, but they decide to back off a little bit. Meadowbrook has the basketball. That's Taylor Sichna. Sichna looks to Norman at the high post. Norman tries to get her way inside, not there, so goes back to Sichna. She'll shoot the three, no good. Rebounded by Maribel Thornberry, no good. Gets her own rebound, surrounded by John Glenn players, and then last touched by Riley Zemensky of the Lady Muskies. So Meadowbrook will inbound underneath their own basket, trailing now 48-25 with 5:45 to go. Kenley Norman on the inbounds play, can't get it. It's Maya Oliver, goes behind the back, and will score the layup, draw the foul. I will tell you something. Riley Zemensky's an outstanding basketball player, and I don't want to slight her in the least. That was an outstanding defensive play by Oliver. Had a person in front of her, went behind her back to clear her way, and then all the way up the floor for the layup, draw the contact, go to the line. And not a lot of high school girl players that can do that. Free throw is good.
Yeah, her ball handling tonight had just, even all throughout the season, I mean, it's just phenomenal to watch. She knows what she wants to do, and she's very effective at making defenders, get out of her way.
Nearly a steal that time by Musselman. Inside, another steal by, guess who? Oliver. And it's a head up the floor to Riley Zemensky. Left-handed dribble will be double teamed. Go back to Oliver. Oliver to the corner for Musselman. Shot on the way is good. Leo Musselman with the tray, and it is now a blowout. 54-25 with 5 minutes to go in favor of John Glenn. They have just put the hammer down on Meadowbrook, who has not scored in this fourth quarter, and the ball will stay with Meadowbrook. 13-0 run for John Glenn to start this fourth quarter. 54-25. If there was any doubts about Meadowbrook hanging around, it has been erased in this first couple of minutes. In the corner, it's Thornberry. She'll pull from 10, be fouled, will go to the line, and that will possibly end the drought for the Lady Colts.
And that foul on Maya Oliver, I've noticed a lot of the blocks that she gets during the games, they come from behind. That time just got a little bit too much of the person. Easy foul call for the officials.
First free throw is missed by Thornberry. One more coming. Substitution for John Glenn. Elena Bailey coming back in. She will replace Emma Dolan. And one more free throw coming for Thornberry. Second one, in and out, no good. Rebounded off to Aaliyah Musselman, to Maya Oliver. Oliver up off glass, scores the layup. And John Glenn will back off to the half court, up 56-25. They're going to stay straight man, will the Lady Muskies. And that's Norman over to Thornberry. Thornberry dribbles and goes back to Norman. Norman has really been handled tonight very well. She will pass inside nicely to Webster. She'll miss the shot, rebounded by Madeline Winland. And Winland goes ahead to Maya Oliver. Maya Oliver to the corner. Over to Riley Zemensky, back to Maya Oliver. Bounce pass to Elena Bailey. Back to Oliver. And Oliver nearly loses it. It's loose on the floor, picked up by Kenley Norman. And then she loses it, gets it back. She'll drive baseline, pull from 20. No good. Rebounded by Madison Winland. And ahead to Riley Zemensky. Zemensky into the corner, throws it up, and in and out, no good. Rebounded by Meadowbrook, down to 3:35 to go. Stolen away by Oliver. Oliver to Zemensky, and John Glenn is going to take a timeout here. I think Coach Sigmund thought, okay, things are getting just a little bit, little wild here, and so he takes the full timeout. His team is comfortably in front, and I think, Brett, the timeout was just to settle the players down and say, hey, we're in control. We've got plenty of points. Let's concentrate right now on our defense, and we'll worry about some of the other things some other time. So let's just play good basketball down the stretch here.
Yeah,
probably just a reinforcement.
Yeah, a lot of, it's a lot of very fast-paced right now, but with it being a 31-point difference, it's hard to say fast-paced basketball is what we want right now. And, it's good for John Glenn because it gives, players chances to score on these moments. And I would say it's also good for Meadowbrook because it gives them a chance to continue working on, a fast-paced basketball game and seeing how they can handle that. So an interesting timeout, but I think it's definitely good to, just corral the players, say, hey, we're in good hands. Here's what we're going to do in this last bit of time. Let's make sure we walk out of here comfortably with a victory, if they're not already going to already.
3:31 to go in the fourth quarter, 56-25. John Glenn on top. They have the basketball. That's Maya Oliver. And let's see what Meadowbrook decides to do. Looks like they're going to stay in that 1-3-1. So John Glenn with the two-guard front at Zemensky and Oliver. Oliver will hold at 3:15. She'll drive with the left hand, go to the corner for Bailey. Bailey back on top to Oliver. Oliver will hold again. And not in any particular hurry is Maya Oliver. She'll drive left, go between the legs, reverse over to Riley Zemensky. Zemensky to the corner for Winland. Winland, two dribbles, picks it up, loses it out of bounds, but last touched by Maribel Thornberry. So it will stay with the Lady Muskies, 56-25 in favor of John Glenn. That is Zemensky in the left side. Double teamed, will drive baseline, put it up backwards and score.
Good reverse layup, and Zemensky utilizing her speed, which she has tons of. A good soccer player and obviously a good basketball player to help her get around the defenders. Easy bucket.
To the high post in Kenley Norman, shot up, no good. Rebounded by Elena Bailey. Bailey over to Maya Oliver. Oliver left-handed dribble to the corner. Zemensky long ball on the way, no good. Rebounded by Musselman on top to Oliver, down to 2:20 to go here in the fourth quarter. Oliver, left-handed dribble, goes to the corner. Bailey, three ball on the way, no good. Rebounded by Meadowbrook. And here come the Colts. That's Kenley Norman running the floor, scores the layup.
And that is her first basket of the second half.
Correct. Oliver with the basketball for John Glenn.
Zemensky.
To 2 minutes.
Zemensky back to holding her right thumb. Seemed to have a little bit more difficulty with that.
John Glenn again, not in any hurry. They'll go to the corner for Bailey. Back on top to Oliver. Down to 1:40 to go, 58-27 in favor of John Glenn. Looking good. down to the last 140 to go. Zeminski has it, dribbles out of some trouble, goes back over to Oliver. Oliver holds, and let's see what she decides to do. She'll drive left, go to the corner for Bailey, back on top. Ooh, there's a long pass, and it's going to be a backcourt violation as Bailey put a little bit too much on trying to reverse to Maya Oliver. So Meadowbrook with a chance to score here, down 58-27 to go in the basketball game. Substitutions coming into the game now as Windland is going to exit for Aubrey Larrick. And also coming in for John Glenn will be Addison Paisley, and she will replace Maya Oliver. Also checking in is Emily Babcock for John Glenn, so the bench is going to be emptied. We're going to have trouble keeping track of all the players here as Riley Zeminski sits down. So John Glenn's still sending players out. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, now they've got 5 new starters for, or 5 new players for John Glenn as Elena Sigmund comes into the lineup. So both teams have emptied their benches, and we have 1:15 to go here in the basketball game. With the ball is Braylon Thompson. Thompson to the high post. Deal, nope, stolen back by John Glenn, and stolen back again. Meadowbrook to John Glenn, to Meadowbrook to John Glenn, then back the other way, trying the layup. It's no good for Emily Babcock. Rebounded off to Meadowbrook, stolen away by Babcock. And here comes the fast break by John Glenn with 40 seconds to go, and holding the ball are the Muskies, and then driving inside, looking for help to Larrick. Not there, so ball back to Meadowbrook with 35 seconds to go here in the basketball game. And Meadowbrook, let's see if they can't get on the board here at the final seconds of the fourth quarter. Rebound loose on the floor. Larrick picks it up and gets over to a teammate. And John Glenn will just try to dribble things out with 10 seconds. Holding it is Addison Paisley, and that is going to do it. The final score tonight is going to be 58-27 in favor of John Glenn. So the Lady Muskies come away victorious. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have some things tallied up. Again, this game brought to you tonight, sole sponsorship by WB Green Insurance. So we want to thank those folks, and we'll try to tally things up while we take a break.
How can you select from insurance companies offering you lizards or ducks? When it comes to protection for your home and auto, you want a company that provides quality insurance products and personalized, fair, friendly claims service. WB Green Insurance represents Westfield Insurance. Their reputation is based on sharing knowledge and building trust. Westfield has been around the neighborhood over 150 years. WB Green Insurance welcomes the opportunity to quote your home, car, and business insurance. Don't be fooled by lizards and ducks. Call 439-1329. Promises. You've heard them all. Peace of mind, quality insurance products, superior claim service, all at a fair and competitive price. Since 1848, Westfield Insurance has promised to provide excellent insurance coverage for your home, auto, and business. Sharing knowledge, building trust. That is Westfield Insurance's pledge to their customers. For a quote on protecting your home, auto, and business, call WB Green Insurance today. WB Green, professional insurance.
In today's marketplace, you have many choices for insurance. WB Green Insurance, a representative of Westfield Insurance, is committed to providing you with excellent coverage for your home and auto at a fair and competitive price. Westfield has been in the neighborhood for over 150 years, providing peace of mind and quality insurance products through independent insurance professionals. Sharing knowledge, building trust is Westfield's pledge to their customers. Call WB Green Insurance today. Your home and your car are likely your 2 biggest investments. Protecting them from unexpected damage is a prime concern to WB Green Insurance. They are proud to represent Westfield Insurance, a financial service organization that provides insurance products for your home, auto, and business. Sharing knowledge, building trust is Westfield Insurance's pledge to their customers. along with personalized claim service that's fast and friendly. To learn how Westfield can help with your insurance needs, talk to WB Green Insurance today.
You're watching high school basketball on ABC Sports and WirePTV. For a look at all things high school basketball, visit yourradioplace.com.
And we welcome you back to John Glenn High School, where tonight the Lady Muskies are victorious by the score of 58-27. And at one point in the third quarter, a 5-point game, but John Glenn would pull away and eventually come away with the 58-27 victory. We want to remind you that we will have some post-game thoughts here as we end the game, and we also want to thank the live scoreboard updates tonight for Clark Family Practice, free throws from Amy Kissinger for Guernsey County Commissioner, and of course WB Green, our sole sponsor tonight for this one. And in just a couple of minutes when we wrap it up, we'll have the +1 pizza player of the game from Meadowbrook and the Lock 9 pizza player of the game from John Glenn. So before we hear let's go to your thoughts, Brett. What is your take on this one?
I think it was kind of a different story in every single quarter. First quarter, it was kind of dominated by the Lady Muskies. They had a pretty sizable lead after the end of the first, mostly due in part to Maya Oliver's pretty strong outing to start the game. And then second quarter, it was flipped. John Glenn kind of didn't have much control over the narrative. Meadowbrook outscored them, and they made it close going into the half. 25-18, I think is what 25. Yeah, 25-18 is what I think it was at halftime. So
yes, it was
definitely within grasp. And then you get into the third quarter, and it's if you're Meadowbrook, you want the momentum to sway your way, and that's what you start off with. A couple turnovers to start, and then you score a couple baskets. It's a 5-point game. You're in the game. You have them where you want them, especially knowing what the Lady Muskies are capable of, being down 5 to start the third quarter. You're off to a great start, and then I'm not sure what got into John Glenn's defense or what they were told during the timeouts, but John Glenn just turned it full 180, and they just started scoring and playing great defense, and that continued for the 7 points Meadowbrook scored in the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter the Lady Muskies did even better. 2 points in that fourth quarter for them, and then Lady Muskies on offense, they just kept scoring and scoring, so they went from 25 first half points, and they ended the game with almost 60. So
good solid effort.
Like I said, Meadowbrook definitely tried their best to fight in it, but later and later in the game, John Glenn's persistent defense just was too much for the Lady Colts to handle.
All right, let's take a look at the final scoring before we give the Player of the Game awards. After one quarter, it was 19-8 in favor of John Glenn. At the break, 25-18. After three, 41-25, and in the final, 58-27, 17-2 in that fourth quarter for John Glenn. For the Lady Colts, who will drop to 7-8 on the season, Kenley Norman a deuce, a 3-4-4 from the line for 9. Taylor Sichna a deuce, 3 threes for 11, her only player in double figures for Meadowbrook. Lakin Lasco 1-2, 1 of 2 from the line for 3. Maribel Thornberry was 0 of 2 from the line. Braylon Thompson did not score. Emma Webster a basket, 1 of 2 from the line. It adds up to 27 points for Meadowbrook. They were 6 of 10 from the free throw line. For the Lady Muskies, they will move to 12-4 on the season. They were led tonight by Maya Oliver. Maya Oliver, 7 twos, a couple of threes, 4 of 4 from the line for 24, the game's leading scorer. Emma Dolan had a tray for 3. Riley Zeminski, excellent game, 9 twos, 1 3 for 21. Aaliyah Musselman, a pair of trays for 6. Jessica Church was 3 of 3 from the line for her 3. Madeline Winland started, was 0 of 2 from the line, did not score. Aubrey Larrick was 1 of 2 from the line for 1 point. From the free throw line, John Glenn, 8 of 11, so excellent free throw shooting. And I guess now, Brett, before we sign off, we want to say one more thank you to the live score updates for the Clark family practice. Free throws from Amy Kissinger for Guernsey County Commissioner. And, of course, WB Green, the insurance company, who's been our sole and outstanding sponsor in this one. So a little bit of a debate for both teams. I think you and I had. Kenley Norman played very well. Also, Taylor Sichna played very well. But in the end, we're going to go with Taylor Sichna, their leading scorer, with 11 points. So congratulations to her. She will be the +1 pizza player of the game for the Colts and will get a free little award here after the game as soon as we round her up. For the Lady Muskies, another tough call. Riley Zemensky, outstanding basketball player. She is so quick, so good. She ended up with 21, but you got to give it to the gun. You got to give it to the engine that makes this team go. Maya Oliver, not only the 24 points, the game's leading scorer, but all the things she does defensively is just something to behold. So very, very good night for Maya Oliver. So we will say good night, and any final thoughts, Brett, before we sign off?
I think the biggest takeaway that I have from tonight is really John Glenn is they did their best to showcase what they're capable of, and that's they'll use good defense and even better offense to score. And then Meadowbrook, still learning, still working on getting it down, but a lot of good stuff to take away from tonight.
Well, thank you, Brett. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully we will see you down the road. Again, thanks for watching and listening, everybody. 58-27 is the final. Lady Muskies take one over a very, I would say, good Meadowbrook team, but just wasn't their night in this one. So thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you again Friday night with a whole host of games on AVC. So do check the schedule because there'll be plenty to go around. So thanks again, everybody, for watching, listening. Take care.
This has been a presentation of ABC Sports.